best ones, cause like today, I didn't even smell the snow. My scent is gone ever since COVID. I did not even smell it. So, but she, I could take her with me to the house and she'd be like, oh God, this is bad, and I'm like,
Public comment. Three-minute group, maximum public comment of 3 minutes on agenda items only. Public comment? Public comment. Third and final, public comment, none being heard, public comment is closed. Discussion possible motion. Now, Rich, not here, correct?
No.
Criminal justice, firing council, CCJ. Melanie does too.
He is not here.
Because
Goes right to-
No, she is.
Huh?
Goes right to Miss
She's
Ann.
right.
Which is recovery. Okay, Angie, you're up.
He knows your name.
Long day sometimes.
Yeah, oh, I know, it's been a very long day. Today we officially welcomed 2 more individuals into recovery court, so we are currently at 4 now, with 2 more pending to be accepted in the next couple of weeks. So we will be up to 6, one more. The only thing that I have for you is when I filled out my, permission to, for out-of-county travel last month, I didn't look at it and I had it wrong, so I have a updated one that I need to have.
That's up to
Is
Mary.
it
last?
Huh?
Is it last?
Yes, it is.
Cool.
It's actually $50 less.
Oh, well then it's
Like
not,
that.
it's not in there.
That's one for a hundred.
Well, I'm sorry, but, yeah, when I went to go turn it in, I realized that I didn't have the right fees in there for the post office, and I didn't,
Yeah.
I didn't,
Well, we gotta approve it.
put it in already approved it.
And we had.
Not for the new amount.
I will be approving.
New amount for the contract. Motion by Mr. Kudo, second by Mr. Rocco, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries to approve the new amount
The
of
new,
our
correct.
contract.
Cause I didn't take into account that I was going to eat 200 pounds or something.
Why'd you eat?
I know.
You could've slept in your car.
I could have, I really could have, I mean, it was cross country. Is that WP? Yeah, the WATCP.
What's the new amount?
$701.
7,140.
And the, tag grant has been submitted. I haven't heard anything back yet, so must be good. Yeah, well, I'm expecting to hear something back when I talked to the gentleman who's in charge of it at the, treatment court thing. He said it was 99.9% accurate, which is a bad percentage.
Wow, nice.
For you.
So, so hopefully they don't just drop a bombshell on me next week and be like, well, here you go. So, it will remain hopeful. Alright, thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
Circuit Court.
What if you wanna sit on the TV?
So, the VA is in action here, it's scheduled for 3 to 4:30, so I'm gonna take place this time. Lots of updates in the last month. Last night, was good, I'm really preparing for the next term, so January, starting for 4 years, so that will be some stability. He hired
set, I'm just curious. This may be a dumb question. How does that set with people that you have to, like, have a company on, whatever, that have to take time off from work?
So-
And settle, and you have to tell them, we don't need you now.
Well, and we try and notice them far enough ahead so that they know what's going on. In my experience, almost everyone's thrilled to be released from the plan and have to come in and testify, so, that's one of those things that's usually the good news when we cancel them. And usually the rough news is if they don't have enough time to plan ahead, so, or have coverage with their current employer. So we try and plan ahead that way. It gets a little complicated when you don't know which path we're taking, but do what we have to.
Sure.
So, and I did email you guys out where we're at, and we are tracking up on the review just because of our turnover, but we'll start to resolve again. So, any questions on any of that?
On Nancy's, position, you said that that's the police maybe sometime
Well,
December,
so
possibly January.
the money we anticipate would be expended by then. So that grant actually that so it was awarded for the grant year that starts a little different than our calendar year, it started October first. So that would go from October first till September 30th of next year, and the proposal she submitted, they just granted 13,000 instead of 41,000. So
Okay.
we could, the other option would be to just have lesser services to spread it out over the year, but to make things cleaner, in our mind, it makes more sense to just, go through with things as they are until that runs out, and then have that meeting right, to switch the hours to then maximize both.
Which makes sense.
Alright? Thanks, guys. I'll get it to you.
Extension officer.
Hello. Okay, this is a out-of-county travel, but it's really just kind of a change from last month. Riverside 4-H Club changed the meeting from October 25th to November 1st. So I just have to change November out-of-county travel. I already did it.
Oh, too bad for you.
Yeah. So I went to the meeting on Friday. I know.
It's like $14.
I know.
We need a motion for that change as well.
We got 13.
I'm picturing it, Ellen.
Yeah.
So I move that we accept the change.
Sorry.
And then it's not out-of-county travel at any meeting before, but it will be at the All-County Conference in November 18th to the 21st. If that's not stating you guys have to pay for upper mileage or anything, but it just won't be in the county at that time.
Hold up first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a motion by Mr. Cool, second by Mr. Russell, to approve the $13.26. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carries. $13.26.
And that's going to,
Hawaii.
I want that trip.
I'll take you with me on that. I'll pay your way on.
It's a cheap ride.
That's a change, that is a change.
Just a date change. You had already approved it to happen in October.
Gotcha,
Yes,
gotcha,
it's
gotcha.
actually November.
It was November 1st.
Yeah, that's.
And I went anyway. I was planning to, and they had really good food. Like, I'll come back every Friday. Every month if you have that. That would be great. As of when December 1st hits, I will have been to every club and every committee meeting, in the county. So that was my goal, to get out there and meet with all of them and talk with them, and it's been very good. We have some very good 4-H clubs and a lot of really strong youth-led clubs. There's some clubs, of course, that need some work, but it's nice to see them running meetings and doing motions and planning and doing all that, so that's been really good.
Before season growth.
I do. Actually, right now, we're 2 Clover Buds higher than we were last year. At 33 Clover Buds, which is a lot of kids in kindergarten through 2nd grade. So we have, right now it's about 120 youth. One club did dissolve, and I was worried about how that looked, but it was a club that hadn't had any members. There was no kids in that club. They had aged out, and, the one in Teacher and Bruce was struggling to get anybody to come. The members that had been there had already transferred to Rusk Rockets, so we didn't lose any members necessarily, they just, that club outgrew its time, I think is what it was. But that leader now has become a photography project leader, so she's continuing to work with 4-H. We did a project day, and she did a photography class, and we'll do another one in the spring, so we're able to keep her in the loop. Yes, I do foresee some growth. We've had, a Taste of 4-H, which was our area 2. We had 5 virtual events. We had an average of 12 to 15 kids on each. These were Zooms. They were put on by Barron and at Washburn, on each one of those. Some of those were 4-Hers, some were not. Other ones chose to watch the recording if they had something going on, they could do it later. We also have a monthly Clover Bud activity going on. We send something out every month, papers they can work on, but there was also a Zoom. There'll also be in-person ones, countywide and then also area-wide. So I like seeing that we're gonna take those Clover Buds and get them interested and keep them interested. So, like I said, I've attended the meetings, working with livestock to update their bylaws, just kind of make sure the committees are running well and smooth. We had a project day and achievement day and a leaders banquet. As of today, myself and the library, Rusk County Library, have three events planned in 2025, that's January through March, together. We have a JLO meeting set for December 1st. That was one of the goals that the county, visioning had, was to see if JLO could be brought back for us, see if there was interest. So that's 7th grade and up. Postcards went out to everybody who's of that age to invite them, and there'll be food, because that's the only reason the kids that age there, so there'll be food, to see if that group wants to continue meeting. I've also been at the CHIP meetings, county health improvement one, and then working with other programming just to get that up and going, so.
Oh, sounds like you did.
I am promoting a lot of the 4-H educational trips. I'd love to see more of our youth go. In case you wanna look at that, you can keep that. There's ones in the state and there's ones throughout, the nation that they can apply to go on. Space Camp, citizenship, Washington Focus, and National 4-H Congress things that I'd love to, get some more youth experiencing those.
It sounds like we made some leaps and bounds.
And if you notice, I'm out of the office a few days. I am taking a couple days off. I'm working on the weekends, so just know if I'm not here on Fridays or something, it's because I was working Sunday before, so.
I don't know what to say. I'm a lot of ways.
Great work.
Sounds like we're getting great turnout and great response.
It's getting there. If we can see some growth and get more into it, that's, we'll keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah,
So.
it's a plus all the way around.
Realigning, even if a club dissolves, realigning a leader's interest in doing some other things that will then ignite some other interest in other youth in a different way, so.
Right.
The only other thing I would add, Carrie and I've been in conversation with Melinda, who is in charge of the AmeriCorps positions throughout the state, and we're gonna meet next week. There might be some funding that we're gonna explore about bringing an AmeriCorps person to Rusk County without you all needing to pay for it for a year, and see if that's an option. And if so, Carrie and I will work together, where do we really wanna focus on growing 4-H? And if that's at schools, or if it's in the summer, since we want
much.
Thanks.
Yes, I know. You know who's turn?
Chosen, we had a spooky open house and there were kids everywhere. It, no, he's not a kid. Well, you know, the Jana Kelly Memorial Foundation, their cabin was spooky, you know, people grabbed you from under, you know, the bunk, so I didn't go in that one. But anyway, we had like 6 cabins with different organizations. It was just amazing, phenomenal. So the only thing we might change for next year is not to have it as late, cause it is really, really dark at camp.
That's the whole point of it.
Well, we had a lot of young kids, like, so many families were there, and it wasn't just going around and grabbing candy, it was an activity in every cabin. I did a backyard bass, so I was out on the basketball hoop, we were fishing for fish. There was just so much stuff there, the fair, sold some food, it was just a really great time, and we had 2 hikes, one in the daylight and one at night. Lois and Jimmy just, you know, knocked it out of the ballpark with, decorating and things like that, so, yeah, so it was a fun time. So that's really all I have to say,
I think the timing was perfect. You know, the 3 o'clock till 7 o'clock, I think that worked out really well.
Well, it was 3:30 to 7. I don't know, a couple of people that I talked to afterwards, like, it went too late.
Oh, some left earlier. First walk was more people, and then the second walk was less
So, anyway, very, very successful, so, that's all we got on Trails End.
The trustee.
Jim Moore talked and then about decorating and the trail and the spooky walk, and he and I decorated. And he would tell some facts about where the wagon train went down. You could still see the trail across the river, and they had the wagons going through there. And he stopped some different people, were very respectful and really enjoyed it, and kids listened very well and followed along, and it was very pleasant.
The wagon train went through
Trail.
trail, I mean,
Yeah,
really.
and you can still see it, and he said that they had what do you call when you go across the water, not a float, but a raft.
There was a river boat, you know, out on the Chippewa.
Yeah, I mean,
Ferry.
there you go.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, see, I just got in on that either.
Well, then you wanna check out, Jim Moore's latest book on Trails and history,
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
so.
And that was the all-day edition.
You have copies there for sale in your office?
I don't, but I could arrange that. Alright,
I would
alright,
take one.
I'll get a couple, yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah,
That was it.
that's interesting.
Really,
Anything under the,
and it wasn't cold.
For what? No, no, mm-mm.
Fair business, what do you got? What are you gonna say?
Oh, is it pretty much done now for the year?
Yes, everything's winterized, so we did not have water or flushing toilets, so, unfortunately, the toilets, the bathrooms didn't get locked after they were winterized, so there was a few deposits, you know, but, James got on that very quickly. So yeah, now it's just,
That's fine.
you know, playing catch up. You know, so we gotta finish the nature trail, finish the swinging bridge, you know, go into the bigger things that you really can't do. He's purchasing this stuff, so, you can walk over it, it's just the ramp going down needs to be, redone, so, it's only a repair job. So I did put in the capital improvement, plan, I believe $85,000 for a replacement, and I noticed it's not in there, so it must have got cut. So this fix will have to last us for a while. Yep, so, yeah, he just only got it passable because that one group really wanted to use it, but, yeah, so that has to be done this year, and then, he got a lot of posts and things, cause we haven't done any of the signage on the nature trail yet.
So we do all the repairs, my concern would be is how is that gonna shift over the winter with the frost now? That's gonna be questionable in hand there.
It doesn't necessarily have to happen this fall, but,
Okay,
some
that
things
was
they
my
want to do.
question.
Well, we have a year from whenever he applied for that license, so,
So could we possibly like prolong that to the spring?
but he's not placing it, he's, I can ask him.
I know what he's, I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying if we make all these repairs and she shifts it in the winter. And all the repairs we did, kind of just go south. I don't know, ask him to do his best,
Yeah.
I'm just spitballing at the wall here.
Yep.
Winter does funny things to everything and shifts it. and-
Yeah, it's just, yeah, we only have a year on
I'm
the
just thinking,
permit, so.
in the springtime, when she thaws, you have things that, you can pull things back straight, so to speak, and then.
Yeah.
Full.
And some things they may need to do when the ice is there, I'm not sure, what parts, but.
Okay, just curious.
Yep.
Alright, enough for trails in then, so we'll go to fair business. Fair board report and current year budget and fair contracts. When you look at that.
Well, cause Jess is here.
Let's see if they go back there.
We met on Sunday, had a demo derby, it was very successful also, since the last meeting, I believe your meeting before that one.
Yeah, not to make something happen here, but every time she sits at this table, her voice echoes differently through the speaker. You know,
Probably looks like I get that a lot from.
it is, it must be your voice tone when it picks that up.
So we should all have a voice like Jess.
Oh. So, we had 19 cars at the demo derby, everyone had a great time, from what we were told. We had like, just went really smooth, so it was our first time event, it was pretty neat.
How many people? A lot.
I was surprised,
Stands are full.
cause we were like scared, I kept looking up at the stands, I'm like,
Well, they're not gonna
Charles
collapse.
too, we're, you know.
Mhm.
because of
Yeah,
something.
well, we were there starting at 8 and, you know, it started at 1, so
Good
not many
reason.
cars were there. But, yeah, the crowd came all at once, pretty much.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed it, we talked about, it was an hour, 20 minutes.
Yeah, and there was a line out of the chuck wagon, they could not keep up with flow, all hands on deck, it was
Took all of us.
wonderful.
Well,
Took everyone.
I used to love
So,
listen derbies.
I do too,
Back.
so
Huh?
my question would be is would you keep that a separate event, or would you try and figure out how to incorporate that with the fair?
It's gonna go on the fair weekend, so it'll be on Sunday.
So, I guess what I'm leading to on that is, I really wanted to come, but it was on a Sunday, and it was in the afternoon, and I had to be south.
That's exactly where it's going, is 2 o'clock on Sunday of the fair.
You have to.
And I'm good with that, because during that week, I usually schedule myself here. So, I was just curious in what your guys' thought and what your,
Yeah, that was a suggestion we had for
A lot of comments.
a couple years, I mean, people have been commenting, and this year even more. So we did drivers and guys that came with their cars, people that attended, everyone's kind of on board with wanting.
So the problem is they think they're gonna have a lot of cars, and then how many of there are there of us? Yeah. And we'll be tired by then, so.
well, that's always the grand finale of a fair.
It was for many, many years.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that very vividly when I was a kid, that was the grand finale. at the
Demo
end of the
derby.
fair. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How many cars can you take? Participants?
They figured 100.
We figured we'll get 100 next year, that's what they're
100
telling
cars?
us.
Yeah, I don't know how we're
Do
gonna.
you have, flights of cars, or everybody just gets in there and bashes the crap out of each other?
Oh,
There's different classes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's, I think there's different size classes according to.
These little
the
ones,
size of
like,
car.
that was exciting.
Yeah.
Bruno will let you off.
I'm sure Bruno will. I'm sure they'll have to go see the GM dealers to get all that junk.
It was fun.
No, they're fun.
So with that, we are kind of revamping our schedule for the fair also, over the next couple months. Hopefully by the end of January, we'll have that all solidified. Our scheduled events and we have everything decided, but we just have to figure out all our times. We're moving stuff, so the mud bog will be Saturday. I'm gonna do the 4D barrel race again, doing the 2-day rodeo, and then of course the more races and some other things that fill in, but we have to just figure out exactly where we're putting everything. So,
It sounds like nice, full.
yeah, it's one thing we're looking into. We've had a lot of suggestions too. When we go down to the fair convention in January is a carnival. Had that suggestion a lot from people. So the group of us that are now on the board have not done a lot of research in carnivals because we've only been told from the past, price, and there's not a lot of carnivals out there. But we are going to go down early. It's carnival night is Sunday. We've always kind of just left, not really attended that because we've never been about a carnival. Our fair with having Marty already before, but we are getting so many requests that we do need to do our due diligence and really find out what is the price nowadays, what are our options, and see if it is something we can do.
Rises.
Yeah, they're looking for rides.
So, that's gonna be right after.
Are you? Or about 3 weeks after. Which is why this fair has never really focused on, this has been a fair, not necessarily an animal fair, exhibit fair, not necessarily rides in the carnival, but like I said, we have an obligation to at least look into everything and make sure that maybe it's not what we've been told. Maybe prices have come down, maybe, I don't know. Or maybe there isn't even one available for us, we have no idea, so we're gonna go and find out facts and bring it back.
I remember going to the fair when I was a kid. That was a huge draw.
Rides.
Carnival.
That's only because you had a girlfriend, you wanna get on a Ferris wheel.
And the spook house.
So we'll see about that, but
Tilt a whirl. I can't do that.
Oh, I throw up. No,
I
you know what I have? Oh, yeah.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
You mean the thing that spins you?
Yeah, that kinda goes up and down and down.
Oh, that's not so bad. But
That's the octopus.
Tilt-a-whirl's a centrifugal thing.
Yeah, it's got,
Yeah.
like the thing that goes, the big,
Yeah, just,
canopy like goes over your head and then it's my luck.
Okay, back to focus.
What was the other, the new, senior something?
class 1 or class
Yeah.
3 is for assisted living or senior residents to be able to enter, put exhibits into our fair. So we voted to have a class. Charmaine and I and Katie went to the district meeting 3 weeks ago. They have one day twice a year, and we went to Barron County, and that was one of the things that I picked out of that. I mean, there's many things, but one of them that is a pretty easy change for us. So the activity directors at the nursing homes or the assisted living facilities are able to have their residents do things with their residents if they want to, and then they can enter them at the fair. It's a ribbon-only class, but that's a thing that some of the fairs have been starting, so we have chosen to put that into our fair book. So yeah, I think that'll be really well received. So with that being said, Brittany is in the process of revamping and updating our fair book. It's gonna look a little different. We've also put a slideshow just recently together, helped Charmaine, of course. Her and Britt have gathered all the information. We're meeting with a sponsor in a few weeks and doing a presentation for them. They want to know kind of more factual, what really happens at the fair, what are we not know, and there's some misinformation out there with, where does our money come from? Do we get the money from the auction? Stuff like that we just need, they want us to clear up for their entire group, so we are going to do that. It's actually looking very nice, what we have so far, so. There it is. got a couple subcommittees formed. So hopefully we've our sponsorship drive already. We've already sent out our first group of letters. We've got some in, which is super exciting for us. So, you got some anything, Sharon?
Just contracts.
Some contracts today. First one is our rodeo. It's a big one.
I'll highlight the amount right there.
Thank you, Shar. Makes me feel real good.
Did you leave it that way?
Well, there's another number I need to show you too. So, it's 35,000 for, to get them, but then it's another, 12,000 in
I
payouts,
was
so,
gonna say that, like 35,000 just to get it through the door.
yeah. So,
And then 12 for payout.
47,000.
47 total.
It was a little cheaper last year.
I was gonna say, we keep going up every year.
That's the nature of business.
Is it 32.5, 33?
I think so, 32.5. I looked it up for the fair meeting. The payouts will stay the same though. We added a class last year, so it's 12,000 for payouts.
Do them all at once or?
How many we got?
The next one is Grandpa Cratchit. Coming back 3 days of the fair, Thursday, or no, 4 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 6,150. He was a 6,000 even last year. He did warn us it was going up a little bit, and so that is what it is.
You do a lot of people, and he's bringing a little different show. He does a different show every year, so he'll bring a different cart, a little trolley trunk thing that they brought this year. He also made the comment that we can utilize him a lot more. We went to the nursing home, we went to the daycare. This year, we'll do more. We'll get a plan of where else.
I don't know how many times I walk by and I just stand there and stare at it. He's hilarious as hell. I thought he was a pretty good entertainer.
When he was on the grounds, the kids loved him, like as he trolleyed around.
Oh, the kids
grounds.
flock to him.
So funny. So yeah, he was good.
He was good at what he's doing, that's for sure. So then I guess the, any motion to approve both these. Motion by Mr. Robinson, second by Mr. Pluto to approve, the
Grandpa
rodeo-
Cratchit and the rodeo.
rodeo contract and Grandpa Cratchit contract. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Contract is approved. Thank you. Alright, fairground business. Fairground report, fairground use agreements, 2025 building and equipment rental rates.
Yeah, so, not much shaking at the fairgrounds right now. Everything is now winterized, we're putting things away for the winter. And I don't have any usage agreements, cause I haven't updated the form yet. But I've had people asking and wanting clarification of the new rates, hence why that's back on the agenda again. So, I'll just rattle off some questions here and then we can come back and think about it, I guess. These are the new rates, buildings and equipment, okay?
No, not that way. Other way. Nope.
There we go. So, in the past, if they're out by noon, we don't charge for that day. That's how Trails End does it. That's how the fairgrounds has done it, but it's just never been in writing. So, I need clarification on that. Now that we have equipment charges, is that just for people who use equipment? Or is that also, in addition to the building fee, for example, dairy breakfast, that they use all the picnic tables, are we gonna charge them for the picnic tables plus the usage? So that's one question. And watering hole and chuck wagon are not listed on here because they're, designated for the fair. But when we initially asked for that, you know, people wanted to use it, you know, you said, well, yeah, as long as the fair says yes, that's fine. So we've had a couple people ask about that. Dairy breakfast will be one, and then a large RV traveling thing will come, and they asked about it as well. So the fair has approved that at $150 a day. My question is, does that money go to the fair or does it go to the fairgrounds? So,
They're getting it for $150 a day? I'm shocked by that.
yes, that is what the fair decided.
That seems really cheap.
Well, okay, let's move into one example.
Well, no, wait a minute, yeah, before we get that far down the road, let's go to the question of, let's address it from the top. So, one of your questions was, should we charge for equipment if they rent the fairgrounds, or buildings on the fairgrounds, correct?
Right, because some people just have graduation parties or whatever, and they just use some tables and chairs.
So, the other side of that coin is do we charge just for equipment if it leaves the fairground? Right?
Oh, that's a way of looking at it. I never thought about that.
So I guess the way I'm looking at this is if somebody comes in and rents the fairgrounds or the multi-purpose building for $750 a day, am I really gonna sleep well enough when I charge them $15 per unit on picnic tables or $10 a unit on picnic tables when they're already spending that kind of money? It's kind of a good voucher of, okay, you can use this stuff, provided it stays on the grounds. You see,
Mhm.
does that make sense?
Yep, so equipment only charge if it leaves the grounds.
Correct.
Okay.
Because if it leaves the grounds, we have no way if it's ever gonna come back.
Mm-hmm.
And all we have is somebody's name, which could be Joe Schmo just made up, or whatever the case may be. So, that's why my way of looking at it, but, you know, you guys might have a different idea of it.
I will have a
So,
little more.
What you're saying then is that the rent, say, like on a multi-purpose building, $750 a day should include equipment that they use.
Okay, now that you say it that way, I would think that has to be within reason, too. But I don't know how that would lay out.
Well, the only way that could possibly work, because when you rent, number one, yes, I can get a number of how many chairs, how many tables, that thing, but that fluctuates in a year. But groups may not know. Maybe they only plan for 50 people and 150 show up. So what I would probably have to do with the equipment, if you decided to charge that in addition to their buildings, is to take it out of their security deposit. Because their user fees has to be paid within 10 days of their use. So I'm already gonna have that building rental. But if they show up and say, hey, can I borrow, 5 chairs, whatever, that's gonna be after the fact. So I could take that out of their security deposit if you went that route. If you only went where, if it leaves the fairgrounds, I'm gonna have a security deposit now, cause you did add that. So I will know who they are, a little more than what I do now.
I was just.
With
So-
a valid driver's license.
Pay by credit card and I know everything about you. But anyway, so it's a step, towards recouping costs and, building up some money so we can repair some of the things out there. But I just needed some clarification on that, so if that's how you wanna go,
Well, that's just my train of thought. I mean,
yep,
you spend $750 a day on the bill, we'll just say that, multi-purpose building. Then you charge me, we'll just say if I got 50 people come, $10 a chair, $10 a picnic table, I mean. And then if, I need a canopy, that's another $15. Now, I don't know how you wanna break this up. You do it out of good gesture because they're already renting ground. Or not.
well, do you care if you recoup the maintenance guy's time, I guess is one way to think about it. If they're using 150 chairs,
Okay,
you
so
know.
then you can, why don't, okay. Let's think of it this way. Multi-purpose building gets rented, 4 picnic tables are thrown in, anything above 4, they pay $10. This is something that I've seen across everywhere, anywhere that I've been across it, I've read something. I'm allotted X amount of this, and then if I need more, I pay extra. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That would be kind of administrative.
Well,
I'm just
you can't have
saying.
your cake and cut it both ways with Tyson here, so, I mean, you wanna throw a good gesture to get the people to rent the building in the first place. If you don't give them something to go on, to entice them to go and rent, and if they come out the gate, I rate $7.50, and now I need 10 picnic tables at $10 a crack, it's gonna start adding up. Yeah.
Just a suggestion, I did 2 weddings this last month down there, and I like the idea of having the tables and chairs in there, but I think you should have some information on the bottom of your contract with them, that when maintenance, if they're getting 10 tables, they set them against the wall, and they set their 40 chairs in stacks of 10. At the end of their event, they're exactly back the way they found them for maintenance. So maintenance isn't tearing down tables, stacking chairs, and doing all that, more specific. So when I did this, it takes a long time. We did it 2 different ways. So
That's a good idea.
I really think it should be included personally because of the dollar amount, but I think they need to be there needs to be strict instructions of what the user, what you expect of them at the end. It needs to be back exactly like this. These 10 tables need to be against the wall in this spot. So when they pull in with their trailer, maintenance pulls in, it's a 10-minute job, not an hour. When they rented tables and chairs, one of the weddings that we had to tear down from, they had very specific, we had 25 chairs in a stack, they had to be strapped a certain way. They couldn't have a gap in them, and we were redoing the stacks because they had to be perfect, or they were getting charged. So it's not unrealistic to say, these 10 in this stack, in each stack, and it's not gonna take maintenance long. If they leave it where they just took their stuff and left though, like that tin building was after the dairy breakfast, I believe it was, took forever for us. I mean, we had to do everything. We had to go in there and literally tear the whole thing down ourselves. Every chair, every table, versus where that should be on the user, in my opinion. That's
Isn't
just
that
my,
about the same scenario if you rent a car, you pick it up, it's full, and you bring it back full?
Yeah.
You put it back the way you found it. If not, you will be charged accordingly for people to do it for you. So I don't have a problem with that.
Well, I could just charge them what's listed here. Yep.
So do you wanna go the route, like say there's a specific number that goes with that $7.50, or however many they want?
personally, me, I would say whatever they want in that building, but it's
Yeah,
just.
they usually tell me how many if they want, but a lot of times plans change last minute, But yeah, I like that idea, so I like, only charging equipment if it leaves the building, but for fairgrounds users, you have specific requirements of how you're gonna, leave it how you found it. If not, you are subject to a charge of the, $1 a chair, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay,
I
alright,
don't see a problem with that, do you?
Or charge the excess maintenance hours that it took.
Right, we'll charge.
or I could charge them a flat $100, I mean.
Charged accordingly for time, let's see, how would you say that?
I think it's to be technical.
Yeah, I stopped.
Yeah,
Trying to figure out how you.
Just make it a flat fee, $100.
$2
Make it painful enough at the.
Get it through the, well, then you might as well $150. You wanna make it hidden between the eyes so that way they understand it. I know when I do jobs, if I don't do a good job, I price it high, so I don't care.
What does it cost maintenance for an hour?
well, just the hourly is about $23.50. You add benefits on top of that, plus equipment, could be substantial.
Get $100 pretty quick.
Yeah, usually it's not the whole team down there, but, if they have to stack all the chairs and move them and all of that, it does take time.
50's not, go too much.
Well, their security deposit's only $250, so,
What are you thinking?
100.
So that would be.
Backwards on me, girl.
Well, you'll understand that when we get a little more involved.
Okay.
But, so what if you said, they have a security deposit of $250?
Mhm.
That's on top of the $7.
Well, actually, no, fairgrounds users at I get $500 out of them.
We're on the security deposit. Oh,
500, yeah.
that'd be a little bit- I was gonna say, if they.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
just use equipment,
Yeah.
all I get is $250 from them.
Okay.
I guess we'll go with Mike's idea.
Flat fee, $100?
About $300, everybody good with that? Yeah. Alright.
Okay. Don't charge if they're out by noon, are you okay with that?
It's just like a motel, you don't get charged as long as you're out by 11 AM.
Okay, alright, we talked about that. So watering hole chuck wagon, they're not listed. You already said that if they wanna use it, they need approval by the fair board. Should I list them on here and then just put asterisks, you know, or just leave it off?
Didn't we put
Did
it
the
on
board- did the-
form?
You did, but now I need to know, do I have it on the form or do I keep it separate? Cause how is John Q. Public gonna know if they can use those?
Right, you need to put it on the form, and then we put that in your guys' lap, so you guys regulate that.
Okay, so I'm probably gonna put it on here with an asterisk, subject to approval by fair board.
Correct.
Alright, and then that money will go to the fair board?
So,
You
did
won't
you,
know.
weren't you originally saying that no, those were gonna be just for the fair?
Well, it's exclusive use, but when we ask for exclusive use, like of our, you know, all the tables and chairs or tables that we bought, in those buildings, we're footing the bill now for all the repairs. So, but we don't wanna boot the dairy breakfast out, you know, and if the fairgrounds can make some money, the fair's not gonna stand in the way, because the fair does not own those buildings, we just have exclusive use. So,
If something happens to it, it's on them, not us.
plus every user has insurance, so,
This just takes one step out of it coming here.
right, those two buildings, yeah. Alright, so you're okay with that? Subject to approval by the fair board, and just those two buildings, the money will go to the fair. Everything else goes to fairgrounds budget.
What were you thinking of for a cost on that?
The fair on the first two, questions was $150. So, looking at these rates, you think, man, that's really cheap. But if you look at last year's rates, you had a nonprofit, so it was $75. So, we're upping it $150, and the fair doesn't really have to do any work, you know, so,
Is that?
so if you're leaving it up to the fair, why are you questioning what the fair's going to charge?
Cause you still kinda wanna be within, you still wanna be kind of in line with everything else.
Yep, and with the new rates,
So you're kinda thinking the 150 a day, right, or somewhere in that neck of the woods?
Yep.
Now, obviously, that would read the same as everything else, leave it the way you found it, if not, so you to.
yeah, that doesn't include you don't get to use our supplies or anything.
So,
You know, that's
what
just
I
the.
mean, you're gonna have to, you guys are gonna have to keep a hold of that, you know, accordingly to, one, take care of the building so they don't destroy it after all the time and money you put in there, and steal your stuff.
Right.
a lot of that, but I mean, just, example for the chuck wagon, there's a lot of equipment in there.
What's your, you guys
Would be-
Yeah,
If
yeah,
something
Shayna
happened
knows
or
everything that's in that
caused-
building.
Cause something to happen, whatever, then.
Yeah, we don't foresee there's gonna be a lot of usage, but dairy breakfast happens there every day. And with the change of rates, they may move, so, so it may not be an issue. But then the mobile home people, or whatever they call themselves, there's gonna be 20 campers on the ground, so you'll already be getting 20 times 30 per site a night there, but they need a place to meet that has kitchen facilities, so that's the only place on the grounds, because I can't let private people in to the senior youth building, because that's only for senior and youth organizations. So it's the only place that we have access to. So the fair doesn't want the fairgrounds to lose out on money,
Right.
you know, so
I
that was
guess
like a happy
in all
medium.
honesty, I guess I don't even know why I'm questioning it, because it's your guys' baby, and that's why we did what we did. So, do what you wanna do.
Okay, alright. So I just wanna give you a little, example of what these new fees mean for some organizations. So the dairy breakfast, they used to pay, for the tin, log, and chuck wagon, $75 a day. So that'd be
For all
200,
three, or per baby?
75 each.
Okay.
So for one day, it was 225, okay? This year, it is now 150, the fair said for chuck wagon. It is now 300 for the tin and 300 for the log. So their rates go from 225 to 750. I'm not saying this to say, hey, we got a problem here, but, the user group is now thinking of changing locations. So, you know, weddings, things like that, I don't foresee huge complaints, because it's still very cheap for a large building like that. Granted, they still have to pay insurance and all that other stuff, but, I foresee issues with the dog show and dairy breakfast. Some of those that were in that lower category are now gonna be paying more. I'm not saying that's good, bad, or indifferent, I told, the user group that I would bring that back for clarification, that is what those charges are.
How many groups do we have that use that fairgrounds every year?
That actually pay?
Yeah.
Circus, dairy breakfast, dog show, and weddings.
Okay, forget the weddings don't pay anything. Dairy breakfast, dog show,
Circus,
circus.
which circus I would charge whatever, you know, so the circus comes and they're used to paying 300, they'll now have to pay 750.
Okay, where I'm going with this is the organizations have been here year after year after year after year after year. Why can we not grandfather them in under these older rates, and then the new people that are coming in from this point forward can charge the new rates?
Or every time we talk about charging rates, we say, you know, for nonprofit or those who substantially give back, you know, it's one thing to use our grounds, but do you and ask for it free, but do you go there? Do you paint? Do you do anything there? You know, so all the 4-H clubs get free. You know, if we have a work day, some will show. But Blue Hills Equestrian Pony Club, there's not much there. Yes, they do a little bit, but there's a lot of groups that use that for free, that don't pay anything, and it's off the few that do pay. So here's just the 2023 users. I'm not done with 2024. You can see the majority of the people that use, you know, we've had a wedding, we had the circus, dairy breakfast, and the dog show. Oh, Farm Bureau, they had some meeting or whatever in the chuck wagon. So there's a few. So if you wanna grandfather them in, that's one thing, but then what are you going to charge? Or what I'm trying to do is say, a lot of money does get spent at the fairgrounds. We all know that, but who actually does work out there? You have the fair board that works year round. You have the maintenance, they get paid to do it, but it'd be one thing if they substantially contributed to the upkeep of the fairgrounds.
And I'm just spitballing. So, I understand what you're saying, that, you know, I don't know, that's why I say, who's been the longest group that's been coming year after year?
Well, the dairy breakfast, I think, has been there for a very long
Dairy
time.
breakfast's been there from, like, God knows
long time. The dog show, is maybe 3-4 years. The circus, it's been a different circus typically, but I mean, maybe 5 years.
I hate to lose the dairy breakfast.
Yeah,
Farmer by Heart, I think that's a big organization, or a good organization, just for the public in general. So I'm having a hard time losing that one for sure.
mhm.
The rest of them I don't know enough about to really have an opinion on.
The dog show, it's gonna be huge, changing from the rates, because they were, and I didn't compile that, a lot of the stuff, they use the whole, they just paid for the whole grounds. So they were used to paying, $500 a day, and, now they're gonna be paying $1,500 a day, and they used like 4 or 5 days, so that's a huge bill for them.
It is. And again, I guess I don't know where to go with this because.
But they didn't even clean up the building after they used it.
Yeah, there was a little.
Right, yeah, yeah,
Issue I heard.
Yeah, there was,
backlash on
yeah.
that,
some stuff there, but it's a very large group, so.
So that,
If I may, I'll need to say so, I'm just trying to figure out.
I don't know, I
don't
don't, you know, I talked to Jess earlier and she's like, yeah, the first year will be the hardest, and it will be, but, I mean, the dairy breakfast has already been in lots of contact with me regarding this, so, and I did it, cause last year they rented 3 buildings, Chuck Wagon, the Tin, where they eat, and then, the log building, cause it was a joint green and white day. So I said, well, just make it, 4-H, pay for that building. Well, no, they need to make money. Well, 4-H does have money, they could pay. So there are some things, but otherwise, even that, they're going from $150 to $600.
it was 75, right?
It was 75, yeah, cause there was that nonprofit rate, which you eliminated.
So, what if we did an exception for the dairy?
Sure, I don't wanna use exception, I think we should use the fact that
We use grandfather rate,
So,
I'm not gonna say use the same rate. But I think, if everybody's realizing increases, we should realize some, maybe make it from 75 to 100 for them.
okay, let's think about this. It's gonna word this very carefully, because I do not wanna line up out that door on everybody that's gonna come and start bitching and complaining about the fact we're giving special treatment to the dairy breakfast. Make sense?
Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to step lightly here to figure out who's been there the longest as an organization, and the dairy breakfast is obviously been there the longest.
They've been there the longest.
I hate to see them go somewhere else. It benefits the city and the surrounding people.
Benefits our,
Don't say dairy farmers.
no, I'm not saying that, it benefits our standing as a fairgrounds, because,
Correct.
you know what I mean, it's a good,
Good,
neighbor policy kind of thing.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And the historical museum does their thing, so I mean, it is a very nice day down at the fairgrounds.
Why don't you call it a neighbor policy? Ask it.
I mean, we can leave it as is, and, I in 2 emails, I strongly suggested that, they come to the committee or talk to the chair, so, you've already given me clarification, if we wanna go with these rates, we can go with them, and,
So, John, are you saying that we should just stick to what we got? Risk losing them?
No,
What are you saying? Grandfather them at 75?
we should grandfather them in, but not at that high rate that we're at now.
Then I suggested raising a little bit, and you said we're gonna have a line.
What I meant was your wording, that's what I was talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure between
They paid
$225, plus tax last year,
and if they go under the new rates, it comes to $750.
$750.
If we made it 100, it would be 300.
Well, the fair already said it was $150 for chuck wagon, but that does make sense because all the equipment, you know, the electric, so, even
So
if you-
150 plus 150 make it 300. Well, it's the same either way. So you mean like the other two buildings are 75 and then sorry 150 for the chuck wagon?
350. Well, if you went up to your initial 100 on the log and tin, and chuck wagon's 150, that would be 350. That's,
So just that.
yeah, so.
Oh, I thought you meant leave the other two buildings at 75 and then just do the chuck wagon at 150.
I'm asking you guys, what are you guys thinking?
I think we jump on this merry-go-round every single time.
We gotta get off of it.
Gotta get off of it.
Yeah.
We spend more time on this than almost anything else when we get to this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so much for the quick. I was on a roll.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you trying to say, Mike?
I'm just saying, if you do a what if every time, might as well just leave it where it was.
You got a point there, but the dinner breakfast, it's a pretty big event.
I'll grandfather them.
That's my thought.
That's a good
What you
community
guys thought. I think we should grandfather the dairy breakfast stand under at $350 though. We should raise it some.
That's fine.
We're gonna make a motion for that. Do we need a
Wait,
motion?
no, just so I understand, so it's gonna be 150 for the chuck wagon,
Just call it $350 all the way through.
and then, so I'll combine a rate of 350 for the three buildings.
50,
For the event,
100, and 100, right?
So do you wanna do a combined rate, like you,
for the three buildings, 350. Move then that for the dairy breakfast, that we charge them 150. We would charge them as a combined rate. So 150 for the chuck wagon and $100 each for the tin building and the locker room. Which totals 350. Put it as a combined rate. Does that sound good?
I'm good with that
Do you think
for
they'll,
dairy breakfast,
will they be okay with that, you think?
yes.
Okay.
What do you think about grandfathering it? Assuming that's what we're calling it.
Grandfather of the dairy association or dairy breakfast association. Yeah,
You know what, but I'm almost thinking,
but I don't know how to place that.
I'm almost thinking you don't want to do that. If you're gonna adjust rates, do it in a motion. Don't muddy the waters and say, well, we're gonna grandfather this person, that person, here's
Yeah,
our rates.
Yeah, this is our rate for you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, alright.
Scratch grandfather.
Hey, let's go and shoot at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
Grandfather than grandma.
Okay, so what is your motion? Do you have a
I
comment?
just said it. I didn't have grandfather in there either.
Right, so I think what he said is good.
Do you want me to repeat it?
for the dairy breakfast, you have a combined rate of 350. The chuck wagon, 150 for the tin. Combined rate for the chuck wagon, rate of 350. For the chuck wagon, it'd be 150, tin building and locker room, $100. Okay.
Mr. Cool makes that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Russell. Is there any other questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Wow.
See how easy that was?
Wasn't that easy?
Once we got, once we
20
dropped,
minutes or better.
once we dropped that grandfather clause that somebody kept bringing up, we went through it. Yeah, you lost,
How do you say that?
No, I'll wait till I hear from other group.
Will you send that form out with some information on it too?
I haven't yet, I will. I started to do that and then I kept getting questioned, well, what about this, what about that? I'm like, let me go back, get clarification, and then I will send it out.
What are we gonna say when they ask why they're so low?
Well, they've been here 50 years.
What did it say that?
I will just say the motion read.
That's what they're.
I don't care, if somebody asks me, I'm gonna tell them, they've been here 50 years.
Yeah.
But you know what, to me, they've earned their right. Because they've been the longest standing on F&R. Am I wrong or right?
I would think the fair is the longest.
Okay, the fair.
Yeah.
Thought we were done with that.
Well, you brought it back up.
I think,
I
so,
I just want to point out.
I just wanna understand, so then you're going to reword the contracts, like, for example, for the no, the big shed. So then you put on there that the rent of $750 includes the number of table chairs that you need. And then you're gonna put on there also that they need to be put back exactly the way they found them. That will be on that contract as well.
Yeah, right now, there never really was a contract for equipment use, it was just like a checklist of what you need, how much you need. I will revamp that, yes.
Yeah, you'll change all the changes.
Yep.
Can we move on now? I thought we were done.
I just had a quick question.
Yeah. How quick that is.
How long did it take us to get off of grandpa?
Moving on.
Moving on. Bill report. Everybody had a chance to look at the bill. Motion to, motion to, approve the bills.
Move.
Mr. Rusk.